All right, welcome in everyone to another deep dive. Today we're looking at how to make your American English sound supernatural.
That's right. We're going to be breaking down.
And the cool thing is, we've got this resource
Yeah.
that focuses on these 10 super common conversation starters, but it also goes into pronunciation.
Exactly.
So we're going to be pulling out kind of like
This essentials.
like the really useful stuff so you can quickly grasp these phrases, like when to use them, how to say them.
Well, and the thing that really grabbed me about this resource is like how it doesn't just tell you the sentences.
Right.
It actually shows them in action, like in a natural conversation.
So the meat of this thing, it's like a little snippet of a chat between, it's Alex and Jamie. They were at a coffee shop,
Makes sense.
just hanging out, talking about the weekends, what they got coming up, and throughout it all, they're using these top 10 sentences.
You get to like see how they fit into a real flow, you know?
It's not just a textbook.
It's living language.
Yeah, it's like you're right there with them.
And that context is so important.
Totally, yeah.
Like knowing, okay, when do I actually say this? How does it sound? That's half the battle.
Okay, so let's jump into some of these sentences.
That's good.
Okay, so they kick things off with like the classic, how are you doing today?
You can't go wrong with that.
You hear it everywhere, but it's like the essential greeting.
Totally.
Then Jamie drops this like kind of big update. I just moved to New York City.
Oh, nice.
So natural.
It's like, yeah, that's how you tell someone something important.
And what I thought was interesting
Go on.
is like that first one, the how are you doing today? It's like opening the door.
Inviting someone in.
Yeah, for connection. And then the next one is like, boom, here's some personal info, to build on that.
Yeah, to kind of like give them something to work with.
Right, exactly.
These things moving.
Okay, and then, got to have some easy small talk.
Classic.
So they go with, the weather's been beautiful lately.
Safe bet. Safe bet.
Always works. And then Alex is like, I had a cup of coffee at this place near Central Park. Just, casually mentioning something they did.
Shows you how much of like everyday conversation is just these little moments.
Yeah, observation.
Like, oh, this is what happened to me,
Just sharing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a little later on, Jamie's like, I'm working on a new project.
Yeah.
And that's such a common way to like talk about what's going on in your life.
Yeah, like what are you up to? Oh, I'm working on this.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple, effective.
Right. And then I love this. Alex tries to find some common ground. Did you see that new movie that came out last week?
Gotta stay up on the latest.
And then another one. Did you watch the game last night?
Ah, yeah, big game.
Those are just classic ways to like,
Find something you both connect with.
yeah, to see if you have shared interests.
Yeah, and just like keep the conversation flowing naturally, You're not just stuck talking about yourself all the time.
Totally. And then we shift gears like into everyday stuff.
A mundane.
Jamie mentions, I need to buy some water bottles. Just like,
Relatable.
yeah, we all got to do that.
We've all been there.
Then for something a bit more, I don't know, like lighthearted.
Fun.
Yeah. Alex asks, what's your favorite color?
Classic.
And to wrap it all up, Jamie says, I'm going to the gym later. Just sharing their immediate plans.
I think what really stands out to me is how, like, these few sentences, they cover so much ground. Like, you've got your greetings, you've got your big updates, you've got your small talk, you've got your, like...
Everyday stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a whole toolkit.
Now, here's where this resource gets really cool.
Okay.
They highlight these key pronunciation things that, like, if you want to sound American,
You want to nail that accent.
this is what you got to focus on.
This is it.
So first up, New York City.
Ah, the Big Apple.
They're emphasizing the R sound in York. That's like that roticity, It's a huge part of what makes an American accent sound American.
Right, and if you're coming from a language where you don't really roll your R's,
Yeah?
that's something to really zero in on.
Yeah, it can make a world of difference.
Okay, what else we got?
So then there's beautiful, and they point out that American English just sound, it's a little thing.
Subtle, but it matters.
But it adds to that, like,
Authentic feel.
naturalness, yeah.
And those vowel sounds, those are often what trip people up.
Right.
Like, that's where you can really hear that someone's not a native speaker sometimes.
Totally. And then they go into, with cup of coffee, they talk about the short U in cup, and then the long O in coffee.
I mean, those are like your bread and butter vowel sounds.
Yeah.
Getting those right is crucial.
And even though they're common words, that American pronunciation, it's specific.
Yeah, it's got its own little quirks.
And then when Jamie says, I'm working on a new project, the source highlights the R in working. and how the stress is on the first part of that word.
Ah, that stress pattern, man, that's so key.
Yeah, it's all about the rhythm.
Yeah, the rhythm of American English.
Totally. And then finally did you watch the game last night? They zero in on the she, watch, and then that flap T in the, what sounds more like a D almost.
Oh yeah, that flap T, that's a classic American thing.
Yeah, makes everything flow smoother.
It's like an example of how sounds change when words are actually spoken together.
Right, not just in isolation.
Yeah, like real world talking.
Exactly. So big takeaway here, hearing these phrases back and forth like this,
Yeah,
it helps you get a feel for the flow,
how it all comes together.
and then practicing these pronunciation tips, that's what's going to make you sound natural.
You got to combine like the head knowledge with actually using your mouth,
Yeah.
putting it all into practice.
So I think we can agree, even these simple sentences, they're like a gold mine
They really are.
for both, like what to say and how to say it.
And now that you've heard them broken down, I want you to think about it. Like,
Yeah.
how could you use these in your own conversation?
Right, and maybe pick one of those pronunciation tips
Yeah, just one.
and really focus on it.
And see what happens, what you notice.
And let us know, like, what other aspects of sounding natural?
Yeah, what are you struggling with?
What are you curious about?
We'll dive into it.
Absolutely.
We're here for it.
All right, thanks for joining us for another deep dive, everyone.
See you next time.